Hello, in this video I'm going to be discussing Reflection API in Java. Reflection is a class manipulator. Reviewing the 3 points in the heading over here, we have class, constructors, and methods. With Reflection API, we can manipulate, modify, and get data from all these using getClass, getConstructors, and getMethods. And that is to include private and public methods, as well as private and public data as well. The next point here was to review the comments in the main code. Going through that. Before I do that, I'm going to stay in this test class and just kind of highlight the fact here that we have a private field, we have our constructor, we have a public method with no arguments, we have a public method with an argument, and then we also have a private method. And that's just going to allow us to really kind of showcase all the features that were listed in this project here. And I'm going to be using the debugger. I'm going to start now. You can see here test object. We have new test, which is creating our object here, and that's actually the constructor inside of test. Okay. And the next is we're going to start the class level, creating an object for with getClass. Getting the name also of the class. Moving on to the constructor. We're going to make the constructor there and get the name. After that, we are going to move through the methods here, and of course we're going to use an array because there's more than one. And what this for loop does is it's going to allow us to get or print rather all of the method names here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to go through this for loop here. Once that's finished, then we're going to start with our method call number 1, which is actually our method 2. All right, so the getDeclared method here is using the name and the type as arguments. All right, going through, you can see again name and type arguments, and and there we go. So you can see it printed out in the console here. Now moving on to the getDeclared field. This is going to allow us to use private field, and this is going to be breaking our encapsulation. And we do that with this .getDeclared field. Also, the set accessibility to true. So if you remember from the test class, S was private. Doesn't matter because we're going to set the accessibility to true and access it. Okay, and then after that, we are going to give it a new string value. Okay, which is Java. And you can see the string is Java. It's printed out down here. All right, moving on to the .getDeclared method 3. If you remember, we're going to be breaking encapsulation again. This was a private method. So again, it doesn't matter because we're going to use the .set accessibility to true. Okay, and then after we set the access to true, we're going to invoke the object. All right, some of the things here to note advantages. We have massive utility with Reflections API. We're using generics, so there's massive utility with this. And then also the debugging as well is one of the benefits here with the Reflection API. Going into the drawbacks, again, when you have that high utility that you're using generics, you're going to have performance issues with that. There's always a give and take, and that's one of them. One other thing to note is the security is a possible drawback. Anytime you're breaking encapsulation there, we're running the risk of not having the program operate as designed, and possibly messing with the structure. When we manipulate things like final and private, that's not the intended purpose. Sometimes that can end up not turning out well. So moving on to the Spring Boot portion of this, speculating on how reflection is used to implement dependency injections. Well, first I think I need to look at dependency injections, and those are used to avoid coupling between objects, and to note that we don't have to use reflection for that. One of the things about the constructor discovery and object creation is I did find out that if we use the dependency injections inside of the constructor, we can get that compile time support, meaning that it won't compile unless it does have the correct types. And as far as at AutoWired, that's just telling Spring where the injections need to occur. I don't really have any further speculations beyond that as far as its relation to reflection. And with that, I'm going to stop this video. Thank you very much.